Hi, I'm Charlotte with MMP Wellness, and this presentation is going to talk about certain supplement considerations for the immune system. A brief disclaimer, this is for informational purposes only, not to be taken for medical advice. If you have any questions, contact your primary care. So today we're going to go over why you might want to supplement, some certain trends that you might be hearing about supplementation and the dynamics that they can cause in the body, how to get it from food, and if you choose to get it from a supplement, why quality matters. Before we even get into supplements, let's talk about the nervous system mode. Sympathetic nervous system mode is what we call the fight or flight. And this is where many of us spend a lot of our time these days. The parasympathetic nervous system mode on the right is the rest and digest, but it's also the nervous system mode where our immune system functions. Our body is designed to survive over thriving. And immune function is considered thriving. So when we spend a lot of time in this survival mode, it can impair our ability of our immune system to protect us. The other reason why we may want to supplement is that most people believe that they're eating well, when in fact, dietary assessment shows that it's less than 25% of the people who are eating a healthy diet. The RDA recommendations are not the recommendations to be healthy, they're the recommendations to avoid serious disease. And the last 50 years, the nutrient depletion in our food supply is dramatic. Here are a couple of examples. Now, the two supplements that you may be hearing a lot about when we talk about immunity is vitamin D and zinc. We're going to talk about those today and the dynamics and the interplay that these nutrients have with other nutrients in the body. So some of the benefits of vitamin D, we're talking about the immune function. It's also good for repairing the tight junctions in the gut that can become impaired and contribute to leaky gut. How do we get vitamin D? We can get vitamin D3 from the sun. There are a few food sources. Vitamin D3 is available through these animal products. D2 is from vegetable products. And the vitamin D is much more bioavailable than the D2 form. So here's a couple of considerations. As I mentioned, the D3 supplementation is much more effective than the D2. Some studies say 85% more effective. You always want to begin low and slow when you do supplementation. Now, here's something about the conversion of vitamin D. The skin converts the sun into vitamin D3, but we're not done. The liver needs to convert D3 to 25-OH, and then the kidney has to convert that 25-OH to 125-OH. Now, this conversion to the active form of hormone requires magnesium. And so if you've taken vitamin D and you start to notice some, let's just say tightness, signs of tightness within the body, that could be that there was insufficient magnesium in the body, and when you took the D, it actually depleted your body to the point where you felt magnesium deficiency. Again, think about tightness when you think about magnesium deficiency, like muscle tightness or acid reflux even. It also helps with the GABA-glutamate balance. The GABA-glutamate is the excitatory versus the calming. I like to think of magnesium as the calming supplement. So here are some signs. You'll notice most of these are signs of tightness. So any of these indications, they could be other things, but magnesium is a good place to start. And where do we get magnesium? Here are some food sources. Nuts and seeds. One of my favorites is buckwheat groats. You can get it from legumes, seafood, especially halibut, artichokes, and leafy greens. Now, if you're going to take magnesium supplementation, which because of the degradation of our soil, we get minerals from our food, the food gets it from the soil, and since it's been depleted from the soil, magnesium deficiency is really quite common. But there's many different forms. So constipation, you can find magnesium citrate as a good type of magnesium for that. If your bowel movements are fine, you may want to try the glycinate or the malate form. Headache or anxiety, magnesium threonate or taurate. And if your digestion is impaired, then taking an Epsom salt bath, which will get the magnesium through the skin, or using a topical magnesium oil could be a good option if you're feeling muscle tightness. All right, let's talk about zinc. So some indications of low zinc, as you can see here, if you are getting sick quite often and maybe having trouble shaking a cold, on a annual blood count, having low white blood cells or another marker called alkaline phosphatase could be an indication. Having brittle or dry hair, if you have wounds that are slow to heal, again, anything, showing that the immune system seems to be slowing could be an indication of zinc deficiency. You can test this in a blood lab. You could test your blood levels of zinc, which is something that I do recommend, especially if you're going to be doing long-term supplementation of zinc. Here are some food sources. Pumpkin seeds, one of my favorite. Meat, especially red meat. Once again, fatty fish, salmon. And organ meat is a good source of food zinc. Now, here's a consideration that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and it is the consideration of the synergistic effect of zinc and copper. So they compete for the same receptors. So if you're doing long-term zinc supplementation, it can deplete copper, which is important for immune function as well. These two levels can be tested in the blood. If you're taking zinc supplementation, just 15 milligrams at a time. If you need more than that, then you can take it through multiple times throughout the day. Many people feel nausea if they take zinc on an empty stomach, so you could take it with food in order to avoid that. And with all supplementation, we want to start low and slow and just notice any differences, good or bad, that you might feel, so you can associate those with the right supplement. Brand matters. The first two are top tier brands. The second two are a little bit more economical. And what can determine a good quality is that they have limited binders and fillers in them. And the FDA does not regulate supplements, which makes them more affordable because they don't have to go through the FDA certification process, but that means buyer beware. So knowing how to read the labels and what to look for is important. These are the no-no brands. A lot of these are, the Costco or the BJ's brand, what you find in Walmart, or a lot of times what you find in CVS. Some of these can contain heavy metals, or they can have a lot of binders or fillers, or the form of the vitamin or mineral could be in a non-active form that your body may have trouble converting it into what it needs. So quality matters. It matters a lot. So let's talk about how to supplement in general. Food. Prioritize food. So if you are limited in resources, supplements are not used to replace food because food contains many micronutrients that we can't get in a supplement. So supplements, again, I'll repeat, are not a substitute for a healthy diet. You always want to go low and slow. Only introduce one supplement at a time. Skip about 3 days in between so that you can draw the correlation to how you feel with the certain supplement. And you don't want to introduce a supplement until the downstream physiology is ready for it. That's a way of, a good example of that is you don't want to start liver clearance if you're constipated. Really, constipation is one of the primary things that you should address before you start upregulating anything, because that's the exit of the body. And if you start to upregulate things, but it's not exiting the body, it's going to recirculate. And this may actually end up doing more harm than good. So make sure the exit is accessible. Also, check any conflicts with your medications, and this can include over-the-counter medications as well. Thanks for taking the time to join me. I'm Charlotte. I'm a wellness coach with MMP Wellness. First M is maximize, second M is minimize, the P is for prioritize. And for the immune system, we want to maximize healthy food, water, and nutrients. We want to minimize stress, processed food, and the toxins that we may find in some low-quality supplements. And prioritize relaxation, sleep, laughter, and support. Thanks for joining me.